Hi Clips, my name is Aaron Donald Sedgwick. I am from Manchester, England, and yeah, I'm applying for the role of teacher, and I really look forward to helping you soon. It's always been my dream to help you in Korea and to live in Korea. I'll explain why in a few moments, but thank you for taking the time to listen to my application. And yeah, so I was born in Manchester, England, in 1986, and yeah, you might not have heard of Manchester. Everybody knows London, obviously, in England, but Manchester is to the north of England, near Scotland. So this is England. So this is probably the shape of England. So yeah, you have London here in the south, and Manchester is to the north here, just about here. It's about a 5-hour drive through many towns and twists and turns, because England is different from America. The way America is mainly just highways and highways. You can go in a straight line for a very, very long time. But England, you have to do twists and turns through many different towns. Yeah, I've lived maybe half my life in Manchester. I grew up there. I was raised there in the outskirts of Manchester. And yeah, Manchester is different. You might have heard of Manchester from Oasis, Manchester City, Manchester United. It's very has the great music. It has a great music. I mean, I love Manchester just for the main thing I love about Manchester is music. I'm not a big football guy. I'm more into fitness and kickboxing, but I have my guitar here and I love to play some Oasis as well. That's another skill I have, playing some acoustic kind of relaxing music. So yeah, but Manchester accent is very different from the rest of England. Like right now, I'm speaking my slow teacher's voice, my slow English voice, because I realised when I first started teaching in Saudi Arabia, I needed to get rid of my accent to appeal to all kind of people from all around the world. And yes, I've been teaching around the world for 10 years now. Half of it has been with Tefl, and half of it has been freelance. Once I realised I can teach online and teach freelance. But I've reached a point now where I really need security. I really miss the security of having a good job. I've always wanted to live in Korea. Asia has always been my dream. A little known fact about me is that I also have a nephew. He's a cousin. He's the son of my son of my uncle on my dad's side. So, but they all call me uncle because he's very young, which is kind of strange. But yeah, he's Korean. My uncle has been living in Korea. He lived in Korea from 2019 from the late 90s to the early 2000s, and yeah, since I met his wife and I met my cousin, and they had him as a son, I met people all around South America where I've been for the past 5 years, and I just fell in love with the Korean lifestyle. Not just the food, obviously, and the anime and all that kind of stuff, but just the culture, the conservative culture, the way people are. They're just so friendly. I can just talk to them like they're my best friend. So maybe it might be in my blood. I don't know. But yeah, I was born in Manchester. I've lived all around the world for the past 10 years. Traveling around the world, I realised teaching was my passion. Even before teaching English in 2014 in Saudi Arabia, before I got my Tefl certificate, I did some traveling by myself, and I was always loved traveling. And I realised I love being able to go. I love pushing myself, and I was going to join the army, but I realised I like to push myself. I like to experience new cultures, and yeah, Asia has always been my dream. But when I first applied for Tefl, I looked at the jobs there and they said, oh, you need 3 years experience. So yeah, I've had to, but now I have that experience, and many more around me, especially in South America as well. And I also teach Spanish and Portuguese as well. So yeah, anyways, getting off track. I'll stick to the same track. So yes, yeah, I grew up in England, lived half my life in England, but I love travelling, I love experiencing new cultures. And yeah, my first teaching experience wasn't actually teaching English. My first teaching experience was teaching kickboxing when I was 18, around 2003, 2004, 2005. I was into fitness, kickboxing, martial arts and everything, taekwondo, and they always called me Stretch Leg Strong because I was always doing the kicks everywhere I go. But and I taught kickboxing for 1 year, and I loved that. But as I'm getting older, I realise I'm not as fit as I used to be. I'm not as agile. I don't have that health, So I try to keep it up. So that's why one of my main dreams to live in Korea is to also help you. And it seems like the perfect lifestyle choice for me. I love Taekwondo. I love everything about it. I've been doing Taekwondo since I was 10 years old. But anyways, that's nothing to do with that. But yes, I taught kickboxing when I 2003 to 2005. After college, one night a week, and I just fell in love with. I realized I was influencing people, and I was inspiring them and changing their lives and affecting the new generation, and it just gave me. I realized it gave me more passion. It gave me more energy. Even just talking to them, it just gave me more energy. You probably know what it's like. Every time you teach the kindergarten kids, they give you this energy. It's like you've just drank a cup of coffee. It's great. I love it, and it gives me passion, and it gives me meaning in life. Just the idea that I am inspiring the next generation, influencing people, and it gives me meaning. It's a much more meaningful job and a meaningful pursuit in life than anything I've ever had, and I feel most alive doing that. So this is why I've been teaching around the world for the past 10 years. So my first job was in Saudi Arabia. Excuse me for speaking so fast. I realised this is a short intro, but it didn't say the time limit, so I'm trying to fit everything in a short amount of time. But yes, usually in lessons I speak very slowly. My teacher's English voice, so I'm much more approachable, slow, especially to the kindergartens, which I did in Saudi Arabia. I taught kindergarten kids from. I used the textbook English Please, where we did the alphabet, colours. We did A, the whiteboard behind me, A, B. See, that was my first teaching English job for 1 year, and then I got that experience behind me, and the big change of cultures just gave me even more passion to teach. And I love pushing myself, and that really pushed myself, and I finally glad I had that experience and great memories from the beautiful people, and it just made me feel like family. And then after that, I taught in Saudi Arabia. I taught in Saudi Arabia from 2014 to 2015, and then after that, I taught in Slovakia from 2015 to 2016, and I loved that because that was just such a breath of fresh air. I went back to teaching schools, and the teenagers were just silent. I used to the kids in Saudi Arabia, the kindergarten kids, being active and Aaron, hugging my leg and drawing pictures of me and asking how my day went and everything. But the teenagers, they were so conservative, and it was such a breath of fresh air. It was much more relaxing, and I loved it. I fell in love with the conservative culture and the relaxing environment, and the culture just and being back with Europeans. I absolutely loved it. I was teaching, this is Slovakia, and I was teaching to different schools all around Slovakia. Maybe sometimes a different school every week, and I love that. I love the changing, just realising, next week I've got to teach here, next week I've got to teach there. It gave me that energy to adapt and have a new adventure. In my 20s, that's what I was all about, But now I'm getting older. Now I need to achieve my dream of teaching in Asia, to settle down and have a life that I enjoy, where I'm settled down for at least 5 years. And Korea to me is my number one. It always has been. But obviously, when I started, I needed the experience first to teach, but now I'm finally glad I have the experience. So and then after Slovakia, I taught B2 level students, teenagers from the ages of 12 to 16, and I also did university students as well. Sometimes I would go to next week I would go to. Sometimes I had 1 week where I would teach students who are high school students, B2 level. That's the main audience. That's the main target audience that I have been teaching. And then the next week I would go to a university and teach them how to do their Oxford exams and how to be good with numbers and how to apply for jobs. So I base each of my lessons around a specific target. I do the research on what the target is for the next lesson, whether it be driving to work for the university students, or travelling to school, whether it be by bus or car, whether it be going on a holiday to a beach. And I also use the Blitz method, which is usually lots of improvising, lots of drawings. I don't just stand here and talk like, oh yes, do this text, do this question, flip to page number. I don't like that. I like to keep it active because I love being active. I love inspiring them, and that's what gives me life. So yeah, this is why I love the job, and I love being physical and active because it really inspires them. So I use the Blitz method, which is I don't just say the words and people cut it down. I don't just sit behind the desk. I'm always up and drawing on the board and doing games. I have at least 2 games per lesson. Sorry, at least 1 game per lesson, usually after the 10-minute intro, and then at the end I do I finish with a game to make the students all calm down and come together and make sure that they've learnt the target agenda for that day. So yes, and I usually the whiteboard a lot, lots of drawings, lots of colours, especially with the kindergarten kids who are so full of energy. And yes, I also teach the Blitz method, which is improvising. So say a target for one class might be okay, so for today we're going to learn how to get to school, and I ask people how they get to school, and I say, okay, now you see Fred, he isn't flying to work, no, he isn't walking to work, he is driving to work. I apply it to the students. I say sometimes they get the bus to school, the school bus, or I ride my bike to school, as well as doing improvising as well. So yeah, it makes it much more fun. Kind of pokes the fun at me as well. It's pretty fun, and it keeps the students engaged, so that they're learning rather than just sitting down behind a desk. And I focus on each student as well to make sure their levels, and we're all rising to the same level and the same agenda for that day, so we have all learnt our target for that day. And yes, I taught in Mexico after Slovakia from 2016 to 2017, and then after that I found I had enough experience to teach online. So from 2017 to 2018 I've been teaching online whilst travelling around South America, whilst doing volunteer work as well, and teaching fitness and kickboxing online, and French and Spanish and Portuguese as well. I know a little bit of French, but my Spanish and Portuguese is good. So if you ever want to learn any Spanish or Portuguese, or anyone, I'm also available for that. On the weekends maybe I might be able to do that. So yes, and I've always wanted to do South America. I've always wanted, I've just thought myself I needed some adventure, I needed something, and I've got that on my system, and I realised it may have been a bad idea because I've been in Brazil for the past 3 years, and since then I've been wanting and dreaming to go to Asia, because Brazil, I've been living in Rio de Janeiro, and that was a really dangerous city. It kind of kept me on edge, but I was always unsafe. I always felt unsafe all the time, no matter how beautiful it looks. You see the mountains and the beaches where people surf, but after a while it just felt I'm getting older, so I kind of feel the age, catching up to me, so I've needed a place to settle down, and Asia, Korea has always been my number one to help you. So yeah, and I can get settled there, start Taekwondo again, pick up my Taekwondo as well, and being the motherland of Taekwondo obviously, and but yeah, those are my passions besides teaching as well, and my special skills as well. My main target school class has been teenagers, but I can also teach kindergarten kids as well. That's always a good energy boost to kick up the bum. So yeah, I always finish off with a game and make sure that all the students come together, make sure they learn the target for that day, for the agenda target for that day. So yes, sorry, I didn't mean to speak so fast. I just know there's a lot to fit in this short video intro, and my mouth was getting a bit dry. But yeah, usually I'll have some water, to keep myself, more replenished, so I can teach and still full of energy. So yeah, if you ever have any questions, I'm always here for you by WhatsApp. My name is Aaron Donald Sedgwick. You can just call me Aaron or Mr. Sedgwick. Usually I have my name written on the board, Mr. Sedgwick. So yes, I'm always here for you. If you ever need anything, if you have any questions at all, just don't be afraid. And I also do different accents as well, because I'm now in USA with my uncle, and yeah, half of my family, I lived half of my life in England, as I said, but I've lived part of my life in USA because my family moved to USA in the 80s, my dad's side of the family, two of my uncles, and yeah, my granddad. So now I'm here looking after my uncle because I was in Brazil, and I said I really need to get out of Brazil. I needed to get out after the dangers in Brazil, and my uncle said, come live with him for a few weeks. He's just had a heart attack, so I'm looking after my uncle right now, making sure he's doing okay. And then, but yeah, I'm available for you. I should have enough money for flights by next week. I should have saved up enough, and then I can help you in any time you like. But yeah, I'm available for you. In 2 weeks' time, I can fly to you and help you in any way possible. So yes, if you have any questions, I'm always here for you. I also do the American accents, which will be fun for some students, some games I do. I say, hey man, how you doing? Hey, do you want to work for me? Or whether somebody wants to work in somebody wants to work in USA, or somebody wants to work or live in England, or somebody wants to work and live in Australia. I also do the Australian accent, like, hey, good day mate, how you doing? Top of the barbie. And I also do fun things like the Irish accent, which is much more difficult. It's much more faster. Where as I speak in my classes, not now, but I speak slow English, so everybody can understand. But for fun, I also do an Irish accent because half my family's Irish. So I do, hey, top of the morning to you, laddie. How you doing, laddie? Yeah, come join us for a pint with the lassies tonight. And I also do the Scottish accent as well. So yeah, that's good for games and everything. But depending on some people have specific requests for me, especially when I was teaching freelance around Brazil. I used to walk along the beach with them, or meet them in a cafe and have a cup of coffee and ask what's their agenda, what's their goal in life, and I try and help them in any way possible, whether it is to work or live in England or work or live in Ireland. I focus on each specific person, what their goals and requirements and their levels are. So yes, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I'm always here for you, and I look forward to helping you soon. So thank you very much, Eclipse, and thank you for taking the time to understand all this. If you have any questions, I can speak much slower, especially in person, my teacher's voice, especially in class as well. So yeah, anyways, I look forward to helping you soon. Take care. Thank you very much.